right, I want to welcome NASCAR Hall of Famer Bill Elliott to the Media Center today. My name is Brian Nelson. I'm the current president of the National Motorsports Press Association, and we are inducting Bill into the NMPA Hall of Fame tonight here in Darlington. So we wanted to bring him in for some congratulations. And as you know, Bill had a 37-year career as a driver in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, few as a team owner, accumulated 44 wins, which makes him 16th on the all-time wins list. He won twice the Daytona 500 and has 3 Southern 500 victories right here in Darlington. When you talk about Darlington memories, certainly the year 1985 is a sweet one, sweeping the races here and becoming the winner of the Winston Million, one of those iconic moments not only in NASCAR history but certainly here at Darlington as well. And, of course, Bill, the 1988 champion with 22 top 10s in 29 races, 15 top 5s, and 6 victories. And certainly when it comes to the NMPA, one of our key things is the most popular driver award, and Bill is the record holder with 16 victories, thanks to the fan votes there. So we want to welcome Bill to the Media Center, and Bill being inducted tonight into the National Motorsports Press Association Hall of Fame. Certainly other halls of fame that you're already a member of, but tell us a little bit about your thoughts of tonight's festivities.
Well, really fantastic. I mean, it's just been, you know, I go back to the start of my career and, you know, where it all ended up here today. And, you know, I wished a lot of my family was here to help celebrate all this, because they were such a part of it, between my mother and dad and, you know, Dan and Ernie, and what they contributed throughout the years and the things that we did. And, you know, especially Harry Melling and the things that he did while he was with us. And but you look back on so many people that helped you along the way. And I was just watching the race there with Terry Labonte winning the race and thinking of through that whole deal. And I can remember that race very well. We ran well that day and had actually an oil leak late in the race and ended up falling out of the race, which at most of the times during the day I ran either in front or behind Terry, right there around him all day, and he ends up winning the race by the way that it all fell. But, you know, you look back on your career and all the things that's happened, and, you know, it's just an honor to be here and a part of this. And for me, it's just, for me, I was a small part of a big deal that went on there out of Dawsonville, and I'm very proud of the guys and everybody that worked hard and supported the effort, the things that they did throughout the years and helped me. It was like one of the guys told me, he said that you just validated what we did throughout all those years, and I think that's a part of it. I think this validates my career and the things that we accomplished, and, you know, not only myself, but as far as the whole family's concerned.
And you've got a lot of history here at Darlington. We mentioned 85, and then the 3 Southern 500 victories. Is there any sentimentality to you coming into this throwback-themed weekend and thinking back on your history here?
Well, unfortunately, I hadn't seen any of the cars. A lot of people have asked me, and I just have literally drove in a few minutes ago, and I wanted to see what was kind of going on, and I'm looking forward to seeing it because, like I said a minute ago, it was so much a part of my early career and the things that happened here. And, you know, Darlington always meant a lot to me. It had such a presence as far as where it ranked among the racetracks, especially before I ever came here. And, you know, all the stories you heard and all the things you did, and then you showed up and you did the Unical rookie part of it, and you had to do the orientation and the driving test and all the stuff that you did. And it was just such a, I can remember it like it was yesterday. I mean, and the things you had to, as nervous I was the night before to come in to have to do that the next day, and the things that you went through. And but I always enjoyed the racetrack. I really love this place. I love racing here. I loved a part of it. You know, the fans here was great. One of my best friends, Chris Giannis, owned the Coors distributorship here in Florence. He passed away a number of years ago, and he was a great supporter, great part of what we did, a great influence to the family, and you know, just so many friends and people that you met and got to know around here. It's just a great place.
Very good. We have time for a few questions. If anybody has questions for Bill Elliott, we'll start right here in the red.
Bill, Scott Chancey with the Florence Morning News. How excited would you be to hear the siren in your hometown if Chase wins next year on the Sprint Cup?
Well, I was hoping if I won. I think it'd be great. I listened to a little bit of Jeff's comments here a little while ago, and the stuff's tough this day and time. I mean, I know he's got a tough road to go there. It's going to be difficult, but I think he can do it. I know he can do it. I feel like that it's just going to be a matter of just everything coming together and just getting that newness off of it and get going, because kind of the way I looked at it, it was just like Martinsville this year. Once they got through Martinsville, it seemed like everything else has kind of come together. And I think once he gets in with Allen and the guys, and gets that nucleus around him as far as HMS is concerned, I feel like it'll be a great situation, and hopefully that will happen.
Right here in the plaid jacket.
Jordan Bianchi, SBNation.com. I was wondering, did you know in advance that Chase was going to be running a throwback scheme this weekend, and what were your thoughts when you saw it?
Well, he talked about it, and I have not seen it yet. I may have, I can't recall. I think I've seen a picture of it, but I hadn't seen the car yet. So I'm looking forward to seeing it here in a few minutes.
All right, we got Kenny Bruce, got Chris, and Jim Utter.
Kenny Bruce, NASCAR.com. Bill, Chase has talked before about watching your races on tape, and
that was VHS.
Yeah. I was wondering, the 85 win here, did you ever go back and watch that race? And what did you see?
I never watched the whole race. I watched bits and pieces of it, and it was kind of really crazy the way the thing unfolded. And I've said this a lot of times. I mean, even during the race, I wasn't the car to beat that day. Earnhardt ran well, Harry Gant ran well, Cale ran well. There was another couple there, and they all beat themselves. And that's one thing we tried not to do that particular weekend. I made this comment before. I brought back the car that I won here in the spring that didn't race again since that spring race. We totally dismantled it, went through everything with a fine-tooth comb, making sure we had no failures, because that we were not going to beat ourselves. I felt like we could have probably built a newer, better car at that particular time, but we just felt like that. We had something. We had one here in the spring. We felt like if we came back with that particular car, that would be where we needed to be. And the car wasn't as quick as it could have been, but at the end of the day, we survived, and the rest of the guys didn't.
Chris, Jim Utter, Hill Overton.
Chris Knight, Catchfence.com. Bill, Chase is often described, often is really hard on himself, like harder than any driver that I've ever seen before since covering the sport. Do you talk to him about being so hard on himself, knowing that he's going to make mistakes and he's going to learn from those mistakes, and he's got to just keep his head high and move forward?
Well, I think once he gets away from it, I think he realizes that and sees it. At the point in time in the heat of the battle, yeah, he's a little hard on himself, and I kind of see that. But hey, if you're going to win, you got to be hard on yourself. I mean, that you're the one that you got to lay down with every night. And like I told him the other night, I said, I've beat myself up a lot of times over a lot of races. The things that I should have done or didn't do or whatever. But yet you've just got to get through it and continue on. I mean, I can think back. I can remember the race here. I was leading with 4 or 5 laps ago and running the wall into turn 1, which is now turn 3, and losing the race to Richmond, with 2 or 3 or 4 laps to go. So, and I still beat myself up over that. So it's just a part of the sport. I mean, it's just a part of what you do and the things you do. And, I think as he gets into it more next year, that'll really be more a part of what he'll understand.
Jim Utter.
Jim Utter, Motorsport.com. Christopher actually took my question, so I'll ask you.
Oh, really?
It also in pertain to Chase, when the announcement came about that he was going to take over the 24 car next year, how did the conversation go? Did he seek your advice? Did you offer an opinion as to whether you thought it was a good decision, or how exactly did that evolve?
I really don't know exactly how it all evolved. I mean, everything kind of came together very quickly with first piece of the puzzle was Jeff retiring. and then the next piece of the puzzle was who were they going to put in the 24 car? And then with everything that went on last year, I think that was kind of the mindset of where he was going to end up. And I think from my standpoint, the questions that would be asked was, I feel like he can do it. I know he can do it. It's what I said a minute ago. But the biggest key is just the hardest part in this sport is getting the nucleus around you that works. You can have all the right people. Just an example, like last year, Greg and Chase worked well together. This year, Ernie and Chase have had a little more of a difficult time. It isn't that Ernie's wrong or right or Chase is wrong or right. It's just the point that sometimes it takes a little bit of time. I think they finally come together and they're working well together right now. And sometimes, it's just like last week at Mid-Ohio. They beat up Ernie pretty bad there. But sometimes you get caught in a box and you make a decision. You got to stick with it. And Ernie was in a point that he couldn't get to the end of the race by where the caution fell there with about, 22 or 3 laps ago, whatever it was. So, he made a decision to stay out. The restart started, Chase got off a course there, got grass in the grill, and had to make a stop. So that kind of dropped the strategy there a little bit. You could look back and say, well, we should have done something different, but you just never know. But back to your question, I think, Chase understands what it's all about. Jeff's been very helpful, so has Rick Hendricks. I feel like with the way the conversation went, we all talked and felt like that this would be a good move, great move. So that's the direction we went into.
And we'll wrap up with Hill.
Hey, man, what are you doing?
Hey, Bill, been
Where
looking
you
for you. What's up?
Where you been?
Oh, just hiding out. I remember meeting you here first time under the old roof of the old garage area on what is now the backstretch. And was it 83 or 84 was your first year here?
No, I actually came here in the 70s.
Okay. Well, I must have met you first about 83. You were nervous. You were excited. You were on the creeper under the car working on the chassis. What do you recall about your early experiences here? What stood out to you the most?
I just think the racetrack. I mean, all the characters, especially in the later 70s that you met that ran here. I can remember being parked by G.C. Spencer. And G.C. had the old Dodge, and I'll never forget talking to him one day, and he said, man, he qualified like 8th or something here that day. And I went over and started talking to him. He said, man, I could make my pickup truck run fast around this place because I knew how to do it. And, you talk to those old guys and the things that they did, and you just admired what they came through and the dedication that they have to do what they did and the love of the sport. Because, I mean, it's just like somebody asked me the other day something about the money, and I said if I was in it for the money, I'd have quit a long time ago because the money was not in it at that point in time. So, just Darlington just had such a presence to it, and it was just so unique of a racetrack, and it was such a challenge. Just regardless if it was another car on a racetrack, it was such a challenge just to run the racetrack. And I think that was the biggest thing. That whenever you came here, the challenge to be able to make every lap and be able to have a car at the end of the day to compete or to compete for the win, compete to run well or compete for the win. I think that was the biggest thing that you looked at when you drove in the gate here.
All right, Bill, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Congratulations on becoming the 98th NMPA Hall of Fame
Hey, that's
inductee.
a good number.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.